Hello, welcome. I'm Karen Harrison, and this is Reiki Call. My website is www.karenharrison.net, and I have a wonderful guest speaker with me tonight, Bryce Goebel, a good friend of mine, and her website is areikiplace.com. She is in Charlottesville, somewhere in those Carolinas.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, well, north, south,
Close.
I don't know. I'm a Midwesterner. What do I know about the East Coast, unfortunately? Okay, well, Bryce has all sorts of amazing skills. She's an intuitive life coach, licensed teacher with the International Center for Reiki Training, a mindset and empowered women's speaker, passionate about showing others how to live authentically without guilt, shame, or apology. Wow. And you have some workshop on, isn't it called Finding Your Fierce?
Yes, Finding Your Fierce is one of the programs that I do that helps people do exactly that. So we work through the fears and the limiting beliefs to come out the other side as authentically you.
Wow. And you have warrior goddess empowerment groups. And Bryce talks to cancer patients about the importance of mindset and treatment and recovery. So that is an amazing group of skills. So I'm excited to welcome Bryce, and she's going to talk a little bit. We'll invite your questions. She's going to do a short meditation on mindset so that you can experience your future self. And welcome to those of you that just joined us. I would just invite you, if you are not actively asking a question, if you could mute yourself just to help eliminate any background noise from dogs and whining kids or whatever you've got there. So Bryce, I guess, first of all, it'd be good to know, how do you define mindset? I mean, what is it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there's a lot of definitions for it. What I think of when I think of mindset is that it is the set of beliefs that you have. And your mindset shapes absolutely everything in your life, from the moment you wake up in the morning to the moment that you put your head down on your pillow at night. Your mindset will keep you contained in a box of the past, or it will allow you to grow and expand. And one of my favorite quotes is from Henry Ford: think you can or think you can't. Either way, you're right.
Yeah, that reminds me of that little book, I think I can, I think I can.
Yes.
Little locomotive. Okay, and when did you get involved with this? Was there some major event in your life that caused you to delve into this kind of training?
Absolutely. I'd been playing with, well, what I thought was mindset through the law of attraction for many years. And so I did Abraham Hicks, as many people have done, and a lot of other people that are known for laws of attraction teachings. But I could never quite get the results I wanted. I'd get part of the way there, but I never got everything. And then in February of 2019, a dear friend named Chris Smith introduced me to a gentleman named David Bayer. And David is, I'm calling him a mindset specialist. David literally saved my life. So I dove into his teachings in February of 2019. And in learning with him, I began to figure out where my gaps were and why I wasn't able to get the results that I wanted just through using law of attraction. So he teaches neurosculpting and how to literally change the neurons in your brain, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. I had no idea just how much I was going to need those skills until about 4 weeks after getting introduced to David. I fractured my hip. And, as Reiki teaches us, in those moments of standing there, I was in a doorway. So thank you, doorway. I didn't fall down. Thank you, hospital, for being a mile down the road, and all of those different things. Through the hip fracture, we found out I had a new unexpected journey to deal with metastatic breast cancer. And instead of going into a state of suffering or just sitting waiting, somewhere in a corner for the diagnosis to catch up with me, instead of listening to statistics, I used David's training on resculpting and working on my mindset. 3 months later, after the hip fractured, my spine fractured, and it was the same thing. Instead of just sitting back, waiting, or closing my business and saying I'm done, I used those tools. Those tools got me back from a wheelchair to learn really walking again, which was something I couldn't do for almost a year, to really thriving now, to making a lot of hard choices, doing what was right for my body. And that has now led me to be able to share the importance of your thoughts and where they're taking you with so many people, so that you can create the reality that you want and that you deserve, by overcoming a lot of the programming that we pick up from the time we're little bitty kids.
Well, Bryce, that is really major. I mean, I just can't even imagine going through, those health challenges and that trauma, and then be able to overcome that and then thrive on the other side. And here you are, a great example of that. So tell us more about this. I mean, like, how do you use it? I mean, like, what do you do? I guess it's more than just denials and affirmations.
It really is. It's literally programming within our brain. So if you think about your brain as an operating system, and your brain has one job, and that is to keep you alive. Your brain doesn't care if you're happy. It's helping you to survive. So what happens from the time we're little bitty kids is that we have different experiences. And those experiences will get stored in our brain, in our neuropathways. So let's think about something that happened to you. Well, that was interesting. Give me one moment. You never know what's going to happen on a live podcast.
The entities have arrived.
Right? They want mindset training too. So think about the first time that you encountered a chocolate chip cookie. And let's say that chocolate chip cookie was warm, ooey gooey, yummy, and you bit into that and the taste exploded in your mouth and it was just fantastic. What gets created in your brain is neural pathways that are now going, ooh, chocolate chip cookie, good, chocolate chip cookie, comforting. So what happens is it creates this little expectation in your brain. The next time you see the chocolate chip cookie, your brain draws on the experience that you had the first time. Chocolate chip cookie, good. So there's that expectation. Now let's turn it the other way and say the first time you had that chocolate chip cookie and you bit into it and either it didn't taste good or maybe it was hot and it burned your tongue. And now what has been created through that first experience is that chocolate chip cookies are bad, or they're going to hurt you. And then every time you want to eat that chocolate chip cookie, that programming in the brain kicks in. So what happens is through these experiences, we will create beliefs. The beliefs may or may not be accurate. A lot of people we have these limiting beliefs we put on ourselves. I'm not good enough. One of my big ones as a child in the South, good girls should be seen and not heard. And so what happened throughout my childhood and teenage and into being in my 20s, I didn't speak up for myself because I was programmed to think that women were not supposed to speak and stand in their truth. That was the belief. From the belief then come our thoughts. Okay, I'm not supposed to speak up. And I'm just supposed to stand over here. And if something wrong is happening, I'm not supposed to stand up and speak up for myself. The thoughts then turn into feelings. When we hit the feelings point, your brain begins to let go of chemicals. So now we're getting these feelings inside of our body. Think about endorphins, the runner's high that people may have heard of. That's chemicals for feel good. Well, you also have chemicals for feel bad. So these feelings then can begin to bring us down. As part of bringing us down, they bring down your energetic frequency as well. So now if I begin to think about the thought back all the way to this limiting belief, the feelings will drop how I feel. I'm feeling sad, or I'm getting angry, or I'm depressed. From that place of being sad or angry or depressed, now I take action. So let's say there's something you've always wanted to do, and somebody says, I don't know why you even bother to try. You'll never be able to do that. You're uncoordinated. What makes you think you can dance? We all have that point in time where there was something we didn't do because back in the day, someone told us we couldn't. And so the action then becomes, well, why bother? I'm not going to be able to succeed. I'm not going to be able to accomplish my goal. So from that, then comes our results, or in many cases, our lack of results. So we go from our beliefs to our thoughts, to our feelings, to the actions that get created, to the results. Your feelings get into a lot of this. Your beliefs are the core. Your beliefs literally dictate and predict your destiny if you do not reprogram them. And that's because your brain keeps looking for information based on what's in your past in order to work with your present and predict your future. So it's vitally important that we are aware of where these beliefs are taking us, where therefore the thoughts go, where the feelings go. And one of the ways you can actually figure that out is clues from your body. If you want to think of God, higher power, source, creator, the universe, an intelligent being, the intelligent being who put us here does not want us to suffer. We are meant to be in a powerful, joyful state, not in a sad, suffering state. So if you have a belief about something and that belief causes you pain or sadness, or you even feel your body constrict when you think about it, that is an indicator that the belief is out of alignment with who you are authentically. Your body is trying to tell you that the belief is false. And what we end up wanting to do is literally rewire our brain, which is the most amazing thing that we can do. We can rewire this beautiful operating system between our ears. Because our beliefs become the decisions that we operate by and we live by, we want to change the belief by changing and making a new decision that is powerful for us. We want to close the gap. This is where I am. This is where I want to be. So how do I get from here to here? I can make that powerful decision. For me, it became, back in 2019, it was about medically walking again, moving again, not giving up. 2020, it became all about my business. And even amidst COVID, when so many things were going on and there was so much uncertainty, my business was thriving. And it was because I was using these tools. By getting myself not in a place of suffering, getting myself in a strong state where I could be creative and really tap in to my full creativity, I was able to come up with some neat new offerings. I was able to reach new people in a way that we had never before. Thank you, Zoom, so much, because Zoom became a big thing for many people last year. It became a way for us to stay connected, even though we might not be able to be physically connected. But if I'm in a place of fear, I'm not able to connect and tap in to my place of creativity. I'm not able to let what I call future Bryce, my future state, where I want to be, I'm not able to connect to that energy. And that is so very powerful. So all those years of the law of attraction, I was missing the point about taking myself and shifting the belief and rewiring my brain. So you take the belief that you don't want, you come up with a powerful decision to change that. So for me, when I started business, I had a wellness business and I was overweight. And my thought was, how would anybody want to come work with a wellness practitioner who's overweight? Well, of course, that's not realistic, but that was my belief. And then I changed that to a very powerful belief of those clients and students who are called, who are meant to be with me and who want to hear the words that I have to say will find me. They will joyfully come through the front door with smiles on their faces, ready to learn and receive. I just simply shifted my thinking. And then every time throughout the day, because it's like anything, building a habit, you've got to work with it. That limiting belief, nobody will want to come see me. I weigh too much. I would go back to my powerful new decision about how these people were coming in with the smiles on their faces and all in joy and excited to receive. And I would, the moment you do that, raise my vibration. So it's a little bit of an up and down the hill. But what's happening as I do this is two things. The neural pathways that are created, that actually happen, it's your reticular activating system as part of this in your brain, is simply that the ones that I don't want begin to dissolve away. And I'm creating new neural pathways for my brain to be able to use. So there's a lot of science behind this whole thing. It's very fascinating to me.
Yeah, that sounds pretty exciting. And I just have to ask, this sounds a lot like what I work with as a mental health therapist, which we call cognitive behavioral therapy, where our beliefs affect our thoughts and feelings, which affects our actions and then affects the results. So that's all the premise behind cognitive behavioral therapy. And then
That's it.
we help people work on looking at their thoughts and developing, making a new choice on their thought about what they believe and rousting out the old limiting beliefs. And
Absolutely.
and that's where I think Reiki is so powerful, because as a therapist, I find when we have those difficult experiences earlier on in life, we can talk about it and therapy can help get quite a bit of it out, but it still seems like there's some issues left in the tissues. And Reiki really helps to go in there, do some deep cleaning, roust it out, lift it up, transform it, raise it to a new higher vibration so that it can all work. So I'm kind of wondering, how do you use this with Reiki?
Oh, great question. So when I'm working with clients and even myself for changing the mindset shifts, realizing that it all is going to go back to your first experience with something. If that first experience was positive, then of course your belief will end up being positive. If the first time I meet a dog, I get nipped, then my thought about dogs is going to be all dogs are bad. So a couple of things that I do is working with the harmony symbol or mental emotional symbol, being able to use that for helping with emotions, because in the end, it's a lot of the limiting beliefs come down to traumas in childhood often. And so what we also do is use our distance symbol and send Reiki back to the moment of this trauma. Use our harmony symbol to be able to help smooth out and free those emotions. And you said it, Karen, the issues in the tissues. They literally get trapped in the cells of your body and stored there. The body always knows what's going on, and that's why it's able to do its job so beautifully. But sometimes it will work against us if we're not paying attention. So I have found that with Reiki, for those who have holy fire, absolutely holy fire, just the purification aspect of it really is wonderful for helping to come in and cleanse where the space is with the limiting beliefs. I can actually at times almost like see it going in and the little flames just clearing out a limiting belief, leaving this beautiful space available now to take this new belief, the powerful decision that we want to start living by, and then anchor that into our brain. It's almost like establishing a new habit, but because of Reiki, it happens easier.
Mm, yes, that's the thing I love about Reiki.
Mhm.
It's so much quicker than any other tool that I know of just to help dissolve those old traumas, and it makes it easier to work on too, because in psychotherapy, you got to like talk about it, and I don't know, that can be cathartic, or it can also be difficult, to bring up those old experiences. In Reiki, as the practitioner, all I have to do is know just a little bit about it and then send Reiki back, to that event, to the original cause of name the trauma.
Absolutely. And one of the things I love about the intuitive coaching I do is we get towards results and towards the future.
Mhm.
As so often with certain therapies, you relive that past event countless times over. But by reliving it, if they're not changing the beliefs that are held within your brain, nothing will change if the belief doesn't change.
Yeah.
And so when we get with mental health professionals and coaches that help us realize that reticular activating system in our brain filters out information for us, because we're exposed. If you think about just 1 second look around you, there is infinite amount of information coming in to be processed. And what your brain does automatically is it filters out information based on your beliefs. So it's going to continue to look for evidence to support your beliefs and filter out evidence of what you don't believe. So one of the things about when we're going through major changes is to ensure that we're bringing the brain with us to the party, and that we're reprogramming it as well. We're reprogramming those beliefs. When we do that, we change the evidence that we're looking for. And now the brain begins to filter out the information that we don't want it to see and focus instead on the information we do want to see.
That is so cool. So is this something that you can use throughout your day?
I use it all the time. Silly stuff, business stuff. For me now, sometimes it's even just getting up in the morning, waking up, being free of pain. I can use it. I'm running late to work. Okay, I need green lights. So I'm literally using my mindset. I don't think there's going to be green lights. I know. I see ahead as on my drive. The road is clear of any road construction or accidents. The lights are green, and I'm able to just flow to my destination with ease. A lot with creativity. A lot of the different things that I do, and I love being creative. So by allowing myself to connect into that mindset, to the idea that there are infinite possibilities. And if we accept that there's infinite possibilities, that means anything exactly is possible. That means there's no limitations on what I get to believe or what I get to do. So I get to think about that trip I want to take, and then know I want to take it, and feel myself, see in my mind's eye where I'm going to go and the things I'm going to do when I get to my destination. And I don't worry about it. I just continue focusing on what it is I want out in the future, and allowing myself to spend time in that energy. And I have been amazed from the business perspective at how my business has grown since I've started doing this. Financially, bringing in students, bringing in clients, coming up with new ideas of different things to offer the communities. And what is it that people need right now? We are a different world than we were a year ago. And we have different needs, and how to connect to those, how to serve our communities from a place of love and compassion and joy, and not be in fear.
Mhm. Wow. So a useful tool throughout your day. And then can you take this on out into like bigger picture where you can use this to change your total reality?
You can. Going back to the idea that believing there are infinite possibilities. Where we get stuck, and this is that little missing piece for law of attraction, we're taught about that, or and think of law of attraction. Okay, think of it, place your order with the universe. And the moment you do, The universe starts to go in action for making that happen. But then the belief of doubt, like winning the lottery. Okay, we go, I want to win the lottery. And then, oh, that'll never happen. The odds are 76 million to 1 or whatever they are. And we go back into this state of suffering. The important part of any of this, accepting that there are no limits on the possibilities. We limit ourselves. So be open to infinite possibilities. Be open to the idea that everything is possible. Get very clear on what we want. That has also been a missing piece of a lot of the training that's out there. It doesn't talk about being very, very clear on what it is that you want. And then begin to vividly imagine yourself. Let your thoughts go to there. Let your feelings go. What is it like to have that thing or go on that trip? For me right now, I'm working on my mountain cabin. And we've gotten to the development that I want. Now I'm looking at the lot. I went up and took the camera view of the image that I want out my back door. And I'm just working now on manifesting all the money that we want for getting our land to be able to go build our cabin. We've got the floor plan. I'm picking out paint and plumbing. And so literally I'm spending all these hours in the future state, not of I may get this or when will I get this, but that I have it right now and I'm playing in it. And that little tiny subtle shift changes your vibration. And what happens out in the quantum field of energy, where we're all energy, you're going to receive what you're vibrating on. So if I'm vibrating down here, I'm going to align with whatever's down here in the quantum field. If I'm vibrating up here, I'm going to receive whatever's vibrating up there in the quantum field. So by being very aware of our thoughts and really looking at where these beliefs are holding us back. I was stunned when I started doing the work at some of the silly beliefs that I had. Little silly piddly things. But the silly piddly things were stopping me. One of those was, I remember as a child, my father said, I don't know why you even bother to do that. That's never going to work. You're not going to go off and be able to do this. That's for men. Says who? And I held with that until I was, 30, 32, somewhere in there. And one day I went, where did this come from? When did I decide to accept that as my belief? And so then I laughed. I went out and took a career as a software engineer for 25 years to prove women could do it as good or better than men could. So, but then I had all these new limiting beliefs that came about from that. But it's comical if we step back and look in your life from the role of sacred observer. Watch yourself as if you didn't know you and look at some of the decisions you make, some of the actions you take. And then start to write down and roll back to what those beliefs are. What is that core conflict, that core belief that's holding us back? And often it is something so silly that, now as an adult, I look at some of these things and I'm like, really? This is what stopped me from getting what I want. So, for me, last couple of years, it's always been the energy of my diagnosis. Oh my gosh, statistics say this. Well, I guess I better not go do too much because if I listen to the statistics, I'm not going to be here. So what's the point of trying hard? What's the point of growing my business if the statistics are true? And then I sat there one day and no, wait a minute. Why am I accepting statistics that have nothing to do with me? I'm a statistic of one. We are all a statistic of one. And because of that, I can choose to do anything that I want. And the moment I had that realization, it freed me in a just amazing way. It was like weight getting lifted up. So I challenge everybody, look at where we are holding ourselves back and release the shackles. I literally remember the moment I imagined, energetically, I reached down to my ankles and I unhooked those shackles. Mm-hmm. Said a very powerful curse phrase and then took off about my life. and started growing my business exponentially. But I was getting in my own way out of fear because of what medicine was saying. And now medicine goes, how are you doing what you're doing? And then it's like, will you come talk to people about this? Because it's funny. It's funny to me because I live from a powerful place as much as I possibly can throughout the day in order to allow energy and vibration to be strong and powerful. And when I do that, I can connect in to all my creativity and all the beauty that's out there in the world and everything that it has to offer. You just have to figure out what you want and be clear with it.
Well, that is awesome. Now, I'm just wondering if now might be a good time to ask if any of the people here on the call have any questions that they want to ask. So I guess that would be an okay yes. Okay, well, do any of y'all have any questions?
I think have I exploded your brains?
If you do, just unmute yourself so that we can hear you.
Yeah, it can be a lot to take in sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I guess, okay, go ahead.
So how do you actually then get started with this process? Where do you begin?
I am so glad you asked. You get to sit down and pull out a piece of paper and start looking at all the areas of your life where things are rocking like a rock star and where things are not what you want. I usually suggest people pick one area. Don't try to reprogram everything at one time. And then what you're going to do is get very clear. So again, we call it the gap. Look at where I am now today, and then look at where I want to be. What is it I want? So that's my future self. That's where future Bryce is going to have this, whatever it is she desires. That's my clarity. I now want to begin to look at what beliefs are standing in my way. Am I not moving towards what I want? This is great if you've been trying to achieve a goal and you haven't been able to hit it. Or every time you start moving forward, something happens to you. It's where you get in your own way. So start to look at those beliefs. What may be standing in the way of me achieving whatever the thing is you want? Once you find the limiting belief, you're then going to create a new powerful decision. And you're going to look for experiences that support that decision. So back to the one about me, nobody would want to come to me because of my weight. That instead got changed to how the people were coming in joyful and excited. And my experiences there were every time a client came in the door, I had proof of that new decision. Every time a student came in, that was proof, that was evidence for my new powerful decision. And that's where I kept focusing my brain energy. So that's when I began to create those new neural pathways. It does take time, it does take consistency, but it absolutely will work. And then another piece of that is every day, spend a little bit of time in, if you want to call it quiet time, if you want to call it meditation, where you are envisioning your perfect day or this item, this whatever it is you want to work on, what it looks like in its perfect, beautiful, wonderful state. That Jennifer that is doing this thing she wants to do, whatever it is. And you just close your eyes and you see yourself there. You literally, in your mind's eye, move towards it. And that's because the brain can't tell the difference between reality and what is vividly imagined. And that's actually been proven with studies at Harvard, landmark study many, many years ago. Athletes do this, some top athletes around the world before competitions. They will envision themselves running the race or shooting that free throw, whatever it is, over and over in the brain. They're rewiring. So you spend time there with future Jennifer. And then throughout the day, you try as much as you can to be in the energy of future Jennifer. And then what happens is current Jennifer, today Jennifer, begins to move towards what future Jennifer wants to do.
So that is
you.
so cool where all that is coming in, from in psychology, they've been talking about that for a number of years, neuroplasticity and,
Yeah,
they,
neurosculpting is a big word now as well. So
Mm.
I love talking, and if you want to get down and dirty with the research on it, look up neurosculpting. David's got a book coming out, but I think now it's been pushed back to December. It's called A Changed Mind. And he is actually sharing a lot of the information of his own journey there. And I'm fortunate working with him. He studied with everybody from Tony Robbins to several of the well-known people in India and all around the world. So instead of having to study with 10 people, I get to study with one who has studied with 10.
Wow. That's a time saver.
It is, and a money saver, practically. And the delivery is good too, so I don't have to travel to all the different places. But I just had never, in all of the years in corporate, everything I'd done, I never had anybody really, people what a tiny bit talk about the importance of your brain, but never to the idea of your brain, your thoughts and your beliefs, because your beliefs are going to literally dictate your destiny. They control everything, because your beliefs control your thoughts, which control your feelings, which control your actions, which control your results. And that rolls back to the beliefs.
Yeah.
It can be a very vicious cycle if we're not aware of it.
Yeah.
It can also be a beautiful cycle.
I wonder if this might be a good time to do that meditation.
Y'all want to do a future state meditation?
Yeah, and I think Jennifer had a question.
Mhm.
You can answer the question and then do the meditation.
Okay.
Thank you. I think you already touched on this a little bit, but I've heard you talking a lot about how to work on your own mindset, and it's like a daily rewiring for yourself. But then you also talked about using the harmony symbol and the distance symbol. Was that in reference to working with clients? And if so, can you talk a little bit about how you use these techniques with clients, since obviously you're just there for one session and you're not in their brain every day?
Right. Yeah. So I do a lot of program work. So I get people with me for 3 and 6 months, which is when we're doing heavy duty coaching. Change takes time. But I also have I'll get it out in a second, clients that are here for 1 or 2 sessions. So what I like to do, if there's an area of their life that's not what they want, and you see this a lot with women, they've lost their voice because they were told at some point in life they couldn't speak their truth. And so what I like to do is have them come up with an affirmation that they will buy into, and have that affirmation start with I am, I love, or I choose. So let's say that belief is I'll never be able to stop smoking cigarettes. Why do I bother? I might as well just keep my 2-pack a day habit. It is what it is. And so instead we come up with a little affirmation of I am free of smoking. I love being able to take a full deep breath. Then I take my harmony symbol, activate, place my hands on either side of their head, and just let the energy flow. Also using the distance symbol to go back to the moment in time where that cigarette and that smoking became the thing that provided comfort, whatever that comfort was, because that's where the belief gets instilled. Okay, smoking the cigarette makes me feel better. It may have just been simply that breathing in deep put oxygen in the body, and that's why we feel better. But that wasn't the connection that got made. It was the cigarette connection that got made. So what I can do is send Reiki back to the moment of that initial shift in the belief where the false belief comes in, or the if we want to say misguided, some false for some people may not be a strong word, and then use the harmony symbol to help with the emotional side of healing the trauma. If you're going to be working with me, I will help you pick out an anchor object. That can be a pendant, it can be a bracelet, it can be your shoes, a wedding ring, earrings, whatever. And I infuse all of these Reiki symbols and the energy of the symbols into that object. And then several times a day for just a couple of minutes, I will ask the person to hold on to their little anchor object and recite their affirmation. So since I don't have them every day, that's one of the ways that I get in their brain a little bit. So the training for them is every time they begin to, oops, I'm feeling bad. Let me go run out and go smoke that cigarette. Oh, wait, instead, let's say if my crystal here was my little my object, they could hold that in their hand instead of smoking and just, I am free of cigarettes. I am free of cigarettes. I am free of cigarettes. Really get into it. And as they do that, the brain is going to release feel-good chemicals, and they're going to be able to start to reprogram and establish a habit that way.
Okay, Darlis was asking if the areas are specific, and I'm not sure what you mean by areas. The areas that we evaluate to change.
Oh, okay, Darlis, that's a great question. It can be anything. It's basically anything in your life that you wouldn't give a 10 to. So if you think about relationships, if you think about how you feel, your wealth, your wellness, your health, your sleeping, are you getting what you want? Do you feel fulfilled in your career? Do you feel fulfilled with all of the relationships that you value, including your relationship with yourself? What about volunteering? I'd like to show up in the world and make impact. And part of that is volunteering. So I'll sharing my time and talents in the community. So just look at all areas of your life and you would find an area where you're not feeling complete or you're feeling stuck. Stuck is a great place to start because that's usually an indicator that there's something going on. So there's that wall and we want to be able to push through the wall. So stuck can be a great place to start.
Yeah, I like that. That shows up a lot in my Reiki sessions.
It does. I think anyone that does Reiki, we will hear that thread. People will come in and they'll talk about, well, this and oh, this is okay, but I just feel stuck. And often on the outside, people look incredibly successful. But on the inside, they're incredibly unfulfilled.
Okay, well, hey, let's move into that meditation so that we don't have to rush it there.
All right. So what I want to do is give you guys an opportunity that you can listen tonight and then anytime you want to connect in with your future self. And so we're going to take a walk through what our ideal day looks like. And just you can pick a piece if you want to think about something right now that's not working for you. And then we're going to go look at what the ideal day for that thing being perfect is going to look like. So for me right now, I'm going to go take myself to my mountain cabin as we talk about this. So I want you to go ahead and just get comfortable and close your eyes and just breathe at your own pace. Feel your seat beneath you. Connect to your body in this moment. And just take a moment to look at your life and select something in your life that's not what you would want it to be. An area where you want to improve, or an area where you've been trying and you haven't been able to achieve that goal. And I want you to take a breath at your own pace and exhale out. And just imagine now ahead of you are all these beautiful rays of white light of infinite possibility. And each one of these rays of light is a different possibility. Don't worry about how anything is going to happen. Focus on what it is you want. Think about what that perfect, trip or that moment or that job or that relationship, allow yourself to just visualize what it looks like in its perfect state. Take yourself to that place in your mind. And look around where you are. Notice the walls. Notice what even building you might be in. Notice the sky if you're where you can look out windows, or if you're outside. Allow yourself with each breath to breathe in this perfect place, this perfect result that you have achieved. You've accomplished this perfect 10 in this area of your life. Connect in with any smells that might be. Allow yourself to just get full of joy and happiness that you have this absolute perfect outcome. Notice how this feels in your body. Allow yourself to feel the joy and the happiness. Radiate the joy. And just sit in this space for a moment. If you have a beloved with you, just enjoy looking at them, being grateful that they are here with you. In such deep gratitude. Just continue to breathe and allow yourself to feel the joy of this perfect spot in time. Now place one hand below your belly button and the other hand at your heart center, connecting with your body. Just continuing to sit in the energy of this perfect moment. Continue breathing in joy, knowing that all things are possible. There are infinite possibilities just waiting for you. Take a moment and notice how this feels in your body. And for one last moment, go ahead and just in your mind's eye, look all around. Look at these surroundings that you've created. And from this powerful decision, you've created this perfect reality for the future. What it looks like, what it feels like, who's there with you, how you're dressed. Notice every detail and just take it all in. And give thanks. And then when you are ready, bring your focus to your breath and slowly and gently open your eyes.
Wow. Thank you, Bryce. That was awesome. I just kept hearing the words mindset for manifesting.
I have found I do this often 5 or 10 minutes, always in the morning for about 20, but throughout my day and in between clients or on days I'm not as busy, I'll take an extra little 5 or 10 minutes, like little boosters, almost like giving yourself little 5-minute self Reiki sessions throughout the day. And I have found that that helps me get out of my way easier. And I found anytime I get stuck with something, I will literally ask the question, what is future Bryce doing? How is she handling this? Because she's already done it. Future Bryce has already figured out this problem. What did she do to do that? And when I do that, I immediately open up my creativity and I kind of start laughing like, well, yeah, okay, I've already done it. So that's how I know I can do it, because future Bryce already has done it. It takes a lot of the fear away.
Well, that's really cool. I don't think I'd ever really thought of that.
Yep. So it's law of attraction sprinkled with mindset, sprinkled with some other things, but it's very interesting ideas.
Mhm.
So there's some great ways that we can truly look at this, because the operating system between our ears controls what we end up doing. So we can get in our own way, or we can create this beautiful new highway that takes us to new and exciting places.
Well, that is just so cool. So, any other questions that anybody has? We're getting close to ending, but I want to give you a chance. Okay, well, let's go over again how people can connect with you. It's areikiplace.com, and you're on Eastern time zone, and you do this coaching over phone, over Zoom. How do you normally do it?
In person, Zoom, and phone, all of the above, based on what the other person and I agree to. Some people want to be on the phone, some people want to see. I like the connection by face, preferably.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you can do one session or you can do many sessions.
Absolutely. And if you're interested in just getting started with mindset, I can absolutely give you some ideas and thoughts and just to get you started on the path where you can, just for a session, even share what it is that's not working for you. And I'm happy to give you some practical tools that you can use to get started.
Okay, yeah, Jennifer is just saying she appreciates your concrete advice and how to work with ourselves and clients. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah, it is awesome. Any other questions or comments?
Want to say thank you. It was a very good topic, I think, for all of us, because I think for myself, it's like, yeah, there's always a couple of things where you're stuck at and you wonder where it's coming from because you have at hand that it should work. And yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
And
that's the challenge. We
Yeah.
we basically, our present is built from our past.
Yeah, it's almost like quantum travels.
Oh, totally.
I had meditation. did meditations like this, and it's almost the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's wonderful.
It's all
Thank
energy.
you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you,
thank you,
darling.
Karen, for inviting to be able to share.
Yeah, I know. There's just so many amazing, talented Reiki teachers with the International Center for Reiki Training. And for a long time, I was doing, just student question and answers, which is awesome. But I found that people seem more interested in hearing a speaker. So I started doing the speaker, and, we have just tons of talent, and Bryce could talk on any number of things. And we'll be presenting at the Reiki retreat coming up over Labor Day online on Zoom on Reiki for chronic health conditions. Is that right?
That is it. Reiki. So we'll be talking about a lot of things because I think if we're not affected by a chronic challenge, we know someone who is. And so I really want to talk about how we can support either ourselves, our family members, our clients in fun, exciting ways. You guys have also gotten a little sneaky peek of how that with the affirmations. They can be very powerful.
Mm-hmm. So, well, thank you so much, Bryce. I appreciate you. Always wonderful to connect with you, and just appreciate your brilliance and all the depth of your experience. And, you've really lived it and transformed yourself. And it's just been so awesome to watch. And I just continue to see you healthy and well and thriving and contributing and spreading your love and light in the world for many more years to come.
Thank you, Karen. I appreciate very much. And thank you for the invitation to talk.
Okay. All right. See you all next time. KarenHarrison.net and a Reiki call. Find us on iTunes and my website and Spotify and other places. Okay. All right. Good night.
Night.